He said, when they fast, they don't wash their faces and they don't brush their hair. Gloomy look, gloomy look. You come to the guy, Rabbi, what's wrong? Are you feeling well? He said, no, I'm all right. But you see muck in his eyes, unkempt hair, terrible, terrible, it's gloomy, gloomy. So what's wrong, Rabbi? Maulana, Ya Sheikh, kya baat hai? Tabiyat theek hai? You all right? He said, no, I'm all right, my son. But he said, you look so gloomy. He said, no, my son, I'm fasting. I'm fasting. Fasting. See? Now to create the impression, you don't wash your face with muck in the eyes and all hair unkempt. And he says, no, my son says, I'm fasting. So you say, Mr. Deedat, bahut Allah wala hai. He's a very, 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 very holy man. That's the impression. So Jesus says, do not fast as the hypocrites do. They don't wash their faces and don't brush their hair. You, my disciples, when you fast, you wash your face and you brush your hair of a happy countenance that nobody suspects that you're fasting. Nobody knows, because you're fasting for the love of Allah, not for show. He calls the hypocrite a hypocrite. The Pope calls us religiosity of the Muslims deserve a respect. You hypocrites. He said, this hypocrisy of these guys, behavior, trying to be very, very holy, Allah Wala, he said, deserves respect. I said, Your Holiness, the boot is on the other foot. The boot is on the other foot. I'm reading daily in the newspapers. I don't know whether you people don't read newspapers. That's my complaint. You people don't read newspapers. Here, Sunday Tribune, 7th of May, 95. It says here, Catholic priest on rape charge. New York, dateline from New York. A Catholic priest from India was arrested on Friday for allegedly trying to rape a woman in the rectory of his New York parish, police said. The Reverend Albert Fernando, 48-year-old, was arraigned on charges of first-degree sexual abuse, first-degree attempted rape, and first-degree unlawful imprisonment. He was held on a $100,000 bail. You know how much is that? That's over 300,000 rand. Who paid for that? Who paid for that? He? That guy, poor beggar from India? Huh? You call him to do service in the church? Who paid that? Where did he get the $100,000 from? Church. You bailed him out. And after he goes through his punishment, what do you do with him? What do you do with him? You take him back. Put him somewhere out of the way places. You don't punish him. Jesus Christ, he said, that if the eye offends you, cast it out. If the hand offends you, cut it off. That's what he's teaching. Your God, your Lord, Jesus Christ. This is what he says. If the eye offends you, cast it out. If the hand offends you, cut it off. In other words, this eyes of yours is going to cause you to lust, crave for other people's wives and daughters. That will take you to hell. Rather that eye be cast out, taken out, and you rise on the other side without an eye, then this eye makes you to go to hell. This hand of yours can't resist touching other people's wives and daughters. This hand will take you to hell. Rather you cut it off. And I have here, I had a story here just now. A young girl in Pretoria, our Pretoria here. And I don't know whether I should read all these things to you, sis. I don't know whether I should read it to you. Newspapers, man, newspapers is being thrown at you. This is from the February news, February 18, 1995. It says here, dateline from Pretoria, penis-cutting daughter held. A daughter who cut off her father's private part. The father, he says, is telling his daughter, just here in the article, he says, you know my child, telling his daughter, I can't resist molesting children. This body, this flesh of mine is such, I can't resist. So help me, for God's sake, help me. Christ said, cut it off. I said, help me, cut it off. And the daughter did her father a favor. She cut it off. Now, the guy is in trouble. So he said, no, a gang came and they just cut it off. 3 days' time, he died. He died in 3 days, bleeding. It's not a surgical cut. Just with a butcher knife, she just cut it off. Now the daughter goes to court to the police and says, look, this is what I did. I cut off my father's penis because this is what he cried to me. He said, help me. He doesn't want to burn in hell. He'd rather be without that here. He's following the teachings of Jesus to the letter. You have your holiness in America at the present moment. There are cases going on against the Roman Catholic Church. In the Time magazine, after the fall, these are pictures here of the Roman Catholic priests who have been charged for sodomizing little boys, choir boys in the church. Father John Henton in Plymouth Superior Court last week, as he was sentenced to 3 concurrent life terms. He will be eligible for parole in 15 years' time. Father, Roman Catholic Church. And in this article it says, $500 million worth of claims are made against the Roman Catholic Church for the priests sodomizing choir boys. You talk about the religiosity of the Muslims. We don't say we are angels. Wallah, we are not angels. We have black sheep among us as well. We have devils also among us. But man, you take the bun. You take 500 million, $500 million worth of claims. So now in England, they're passing a law now, the church said every person who wants to become a priest, we want to go into his life history. We must ask him, did you molest any children at any time? Did anybody ever accuse you? Everything about you. Because it says now the insurance companies don't want to pay. So now, man, tell me what, $500 million worth of claims against your church for sodomizing little boys. Huh? And you call religiosity of the Muslim deserves our respect. We deserve your respect, our religiosity. So we say, you see, the boot is on the other foot. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, look, it's a fantastic opportunity, wallah. See, Allah is giving us opportunity. Wallah, He's giving me this opportunity. This book, was written for me. Do you know that? Allah made him to write this book for me. I'm telling you. Because no other Muslim can use this book. And I can use this book. His book, every word he uses, I can use it to expound my religion. I'm going to England on the 30th of August on a lecture tour about the same, about the book. His Holiness, Islam's answer to the Pope's pious pronouncement. Lecture. This book, I'm telling you, it was written for me. You say no. Then I say, you tell me who was it written for? You see, when this Pope, and we were having a communication. He was talking about having a dialogue. So I wrote to him. I said, Your Holiness, I'm prepared to accept that dialogue. I want to come along to the Vatican at your disposal, at your convenience. When can we have it? Your Bible says, come, let us reason together. And the Quran says, Alal Kitab Ta'ala. So both religions saying, come, let us talk. We want to talk. And it's a long story. Eventually, I found a picture where it actually shows His Holiness the Pope, playing hide and seek. You must have seen that picture. This one here. You saw this picture? We gave out 250,000 men in English and 250,000 in Arabic, and you haven't seen it. I know you people don't read. This picture here. See, I don't want to show you what he's doing because these guys are catching me on the camera. Then they're going to show Deedat is playing the game like that. I don't want people to use that picture at any time. Therefore, I'm not doing it. But fortunately, I found it as I show it to you. See what the Pope is doing? So in Victoria Street, there was a pharmacy there, that white man. I forget his name. He's a good friend of mine. Every time in the city hall I have a lecture, he's the first man to come and ask me a question. First man in every lecture. He's the first guy to come along to ask questions. Do you know that? I forget his name. the chemist owner. He's not there anymore now. He's somewhere else. So I go to him. He's my friend. We have a brushing. So I show him the picture. He said, where did you get this? Where did you get this? I said, look, don't worry about that. I said, this picture was taken for me. This picture was taken for me. He says, no. It's not for me. I said, do you need this picture? Do you need a picture like this of your Pope? Playing monkey tricks. You want your Pope like this? Huh? He says, no. I said, is there a single Christian who needs a picture like this? A picture like this? A single Christian who will want to see his Pope like this, behaving like this? He says, no. So I said, look, I needed a picture like that. So the picture is taken for me. No, Allah is Musabbibul Asbab. He creates this. He doesn't know. Everybody is set up. Everybody gets set up. You get set up. Allah is setting up everybody. He set me up for this. Wallah, He set me up for this. If I tell you now how that book came into my hand, how it's a setup. Everything is a setup. Me going to Marisburg and spending the whole day there is a setup. Everything is a setup. I'm here, it's a setup. This is what Allah does to everybody. Let's hope that we cooperate with this setting up and do some service to Islam. With these words, Mr. Chairman and my dear brothers and sisters, I'm very, very grateful that on this nice, lovely day, you have been able to come and honor me. May Allah reward you all. And this lecture, my usual, all my talks are followed by questions and answers. You have questions, please queue up here. Queue up here. Don't drag your feet. Come, let us finish it early. I think I have taken a lot of time of yours tonight, a lot more than normally I give. Come forward, ask your questions, and we'll end with a dua at the end. Come. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
If there's anybody who has any questions, please come forward. We have one, Mr. Deedat.
My name is Rashid Ahmed. Mr. Deedat, I want to ask you one question or more. I want to ask you, who said that there will be no sign shown to you unless the sign of Jonah? I want to answer me that first. Then I will come to another thing.
Sit down. Sit down there. No, that was a statement made by Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ made that statement. See, the Jews came to him and they said, Master, mfundisi, sithanda ukubona isibonakaliso esenziwe kuwe. So, Master, we would have a sign of thee. We want you to show us a miracle to convince us that you are the man we are waiting for. uJesu waphendula wathi kubo isizukulwane esibini siphingayo sifuna isibonakaliso kepha asiyikunikwa sibonakaliso kuphela isibonakaliso kukaJona umprofeti. There shall no sign be given unto it. An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, but there shall no sign be given unto it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. In Afrikaans, want soos Jonah, 3 dae en 3 nagte in die hart van die groot vis was, so sal die seun van die mens 3 dae en 3 nagte in die hart van die aard wees. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth. That was said by Jesus. Now, you see, I was just trying to show you that if you want to do a job, you take the trouble. You want to sell something.
Yeah.
Our forefathers were business people. They started opening little shops and they learned Zulu. You know that? They learned Zulu. So there's a Sawana Baba, Mama, Shipile. They learned all that to do business. Right? But we are not learning Zulu. You know why? Because you don't want to do the dawah. You can be an imam. You. I'm pointing at you now. You can be an imam for 100 years. Just for example. Don't take offense. But you'll never learn to say Sagabona to the African. That's your nature. You'll never learn in 100 years to say Sagabona. I know, you know that. Our Maulvis, our Alims, our Allamas, In 100 years, if they live for 1,000 years, they won't learn to say Sagabona. Do you know that? And Allah says, wish everyone you know and wish everyone you don't know. And be the foremost in wishing people. But it's not a part of your life. Yes?
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Deedat.
Good evening.
I'm from Cape Town.
Mashallah.
I'm a truck driver. I'm just driving through.
Right.
And I received this invitation on my
Lovely.
vehicle.
Lovely.
Now, I'm a Christian. And I would like to ask you one question, that is, why since 1948, the 14th of May, when the Jews went back to
Israel,
Israel became a nation and all that. I would love to know, since that time they have fought 7 wars.
Right.
All 7 have been won by the Jews.
Right.
And I would love to know, why is it that that country is surrounded by the Arab states?
160 million Muslims.
Yes. And they ain't able to overpower a country with 140,000 soldiers in the army. Why is that, Mr.?
I'll give you an easy answer. Sit down, yes. You know, Smith in southern Rhodesia, he declared the UDI, Unilateral Declaration of Independence. You remember that? For 12 years, he made the whole of Africa to say, hey, you bloody rubbish, stand afar, don't come near. And there were only 250,000, do you know that? Do you know that there are only 250,000 whites in southern Rhodesia, and they had the whole of Africa, your Nigeria, and your Ghana, and your Malawi, and whole bang lot of us, Shh, keep at arm's length, you're bloody rubbish. For 12 years, he kept us there. No, it's the armory, weapons. That guy has got the weaponry. America is behind him. Every time the Muslim goes to war against the Jew, he's not fighting the Jew, he's fighting America. In 1973, for the first time, the Arabs took the initiative. The Ramadan War, the October War, Sadat crossed the Bar-Lev line, he had the Jews by the throat. And the Jews cried for help. And Reagan rushed into the battle with his men and machines through the Azores, direct into the battlefield. So we are not fighting the Jews. This is Jew is a facade, it's a front. We are actually fighting America. Inshallah, say God willing, one day, things will come right. They're working. Today little children are facing them with stones. That spirit will win. This is what God wants. The spirit is the spirit that's going to win. The guy's giving in. He's going to say, all right, now, man, you have a little piece here, a little piece there. His nation says no. But he still says no. He knows which side his bread is buttered. So we said, now leave it to God. God in his wisdom, he's got his plan. Is a purification for us. We need purification. You see, we are not altogether pure. We have to be purified. In our intentions and our spirit, we have to be purified to get victory. It'll take time, but inshallah it's working. It'll work. Like it happened here in Rhodesia. They got the independence. But for 12 years, Smith, with his 250,000, he had the whole of Africa. How many? 200 million Africans at bay. Or 300 million Africans. Hey, you bloody rubbish, keep out. Keep out of my country. And 250,000 at that. So it is the armament, the weapon, that did the job. Same thing here, 300 years, the guy ruled us. 300 years. What did it? Is he more than you? No. Is he stronger than you? No. No, it's the weapon. He had the arms. So, fortunately, thank God, the Russians said, well, we'll help the ANC, and Libya says, we'll help you, and so on says, we'll help you, China says, we'll help you, and over a period of time, we got our independence with all this help. One day, inshallah, the Middle East will also come right. Any other question? Yes.
Sorry, sir. You just mentioned the Chinese and the Russians and all
And the
these people,
Libyans.
and Libya and all these
Right.
people coming, promising aid to the ANC and helping them to liberate the oppressed. I want to come to a point here, that is, Do you expect the same thing to happen in the Middle East? A country like Russia with an army of about 400 million. It's a very strong army, I know about them. And I also know that there's about 80 to 90% of their soldiers is Muslim.
Yes.
About 80 to 90% of the Russian army soldiers is Muslim. Because there are a lot of Muslims staying in Russia. And I've learned, as you might possibly know, that in the book of Ezekiel, the prophet prophesies about the Russian army coming up against Israel, assisting the Arab nations surrounding Israel to overpower, to, in actual fact, win the war they many years want to win. That is to get Israel out of, to get the Jews out of Israel. What I'm saying, Mr. Deedat, is this. Is that war going to happen? You know that Ezekiel in the chapter 38 prophesies about that. Is that war going to happen? Do you expect America, as you have just said, to intervene and help the Israelis in that war?
You see, my son, I don't live in false hopes. These prophecies. People have been waiting for Jesus Christ to come. Do you know that? For 2,000 years. It was any time now. He said, before you go over the cities of Israel, I'll be back. He's telling his disciples, when they persecute you in one city, flee into another. And they persecuted, flee into another. And before you go over the cities of Israel, I'll be back. And they fled, and they fled, and they died, and they rotted in their graves. 2,000 years have gone, and it still hasn't come yet. So, I don't believe in waiting with open mouth for somebody to come along and pull the chestnut out of the fire for you. We have to learn to do it ourselves, to get the things ourselves. So, time will come, but we don't sit on prophecies. See, the Christian was waiting and still waiting, 2,000 years now, for Jesus Christ. He said, before you go over, I'll be back. So, same thing happened to the Jews in the book of Exodus. God speaks to them. He says, I declare to you this day that you shall surely perish. You shall not live long in the land which you are going over the Jordan to cross and to conquer. You will not live long in that land. That's your Bible. That's a prophecy. But I said, tell the Muslims, I said, no, don't wait on that. You have to learn to get the things that you want. You have to pay for it. You have to sweat for it. Don't wait for things to happen from heaven, because heaven doesn't work that way. It wants you to sweat, and God will give you the reward. Any other questions? This will be the last question. This will be the last question.
Mr. Deedat, I've got a simple question for you. Since the duty of dawah to the people is an obligation upon the Muslims, and we find that there's an opposition from among our Muslim brothers that it's not good to do so. Is it because they're ignorant about dawah, or they want to live in peace with the non-Muslim brothers? If not, then why is that like that?
You see, to me, we are not told. We are not told. Nowhere have I found the Muslims in the Muslim world telling the people, go and do dawah. The alims, I'm talking about the alims. They'll tell you about the beard, the size of your beard. Yours is not standard size. Me too. I'm here on the same boat as you. You see? So you're wearing Nasara clothes? Me too. You see? So we are busy with that. Nobody is telling you to do dawah. This is the awwal fard of the Muslim, the first fard. Long before Salat, Zakat, Hajj and Sawm became fard, Allah tells His Rasul, our Nabi Kareem, the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And through him He's telling us, He says, فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ. So you deliver the message, because it is your duty to deliver the message. لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ مُسَيْطِرْ. You will not be questioned regarding them. إِلَّا مَنْ تَوَلَّى وَكَفَرْ. Why they accepted or why they didn't accept, Allah won't ask you. He will ask you, did you deliver the message? And if we can say, Ya Bari Ta'ala, we tried to the best of our ability. If that was very little or great, whatever, you tried, Allah will say, my Jannah is open for you. He will not ask you, why didn't you do like Ahmed Deedat? I'm telling you, He won't ask you that. Why didn't you like Maulana Razak? He won't ask you that. He said, did you? He said, yes, Ya Baritala. What little I knew, I tried. But if he can say that, I don't know how many of us can say that we tried. We are not trying. We're not talking. We are not told. The alims are not telling you from the mimbar. They must tell you from the mimbar. Me, this is my job, my occupation. So what can I do? I have to talk about these things. So I'm making money. This is my occupation. We are worth 20 million. So the guy is very lucky. Huh? Yeah, that's a very lucky fellow. No, my brothers. There is a law at work. There is a law at work. You have to pay the price. See, all what I was telling you, I can give you 20 different languages. Do you know that? Exotic languages. The language of the Dinka, which nobody heard. Even the Sudanese don't know. They are at war with the Dinkas. They are like the Zulus in southern Sudan. John Garam is a Dinka. I learned his language before going to Sudan. I learned Swahili. I know Indonesian. I know Malaysian. I know French. And I'm trying to learn Italian now because I got an Italian book of the Pope. So I'm going to learn Italian. So if I meet an Italian, I says, you know, His Holiness the Pope, he says, but I'll be telling in Italian. He says, so some of the most beautiful names in the human language are given to the God of the Quran. Beautiful, beautiful. Did you read the Quran? So, get started, man. You see, if you want to deliver a message, you'll have that. To do something. That means you're paying the price. By the way, I didn't bring you to show you people. These are all the cards. These are all the cards. This verse I read to you tonight is huma fil ghari, is yakulu li sahibihi la tahzan inna Allaha ma'ana. What? I'm learning. At the age of 77, I'm learning. Are you prepared to make that sacrifice? No. You just see, say, the guy's very lucky, man. Hey, he's got a nice jetta. No, my dear brothers, there is a price you have to pay. Anybody, everybody. There's nothing for nothing in life. You are a parasite if you expect things to happen to people throwing down manna and salwa from heaven. Allah doesn't do that. God doesn't do that. Those days are gone. You have to sweat for whatever you get. So, this, Jazakallah. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the talk for the evening. I'd like to thank you for coming here this evening. More than that, I'd like to thank Mr. Ahmed Deedat for a very informative talk. And before we close this evening's proceedings, a dua would be read.
Al-Fatiha. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. اللهم إنا بما سأل منه الرسول من خير فقير وما استعاذ منه الرسول من شر نستعيذ. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربنا رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.